should ask the baby, because then it has an unbiased.
That's right, completely unbiased baby. If you fill this out on behalf of your baby, what does your baby think? That's what I imagine a baby thinks.
No, keyboard smashing.
Keyboard smashing. Baby. Awesome. Who else? Who else had a thought about what this was like? Anybody willing to talk about why they didn't want to do this or why maybe they opted out? Just forgot. That's good enough. Good. Yeah. It's weird how quickly a week flies by, right? You're like, oh man, I was supposed to do that. I didn't do it. Or maybe you know exactly how fast a week flies by because of the homework situation. Yeah. Awesome. Any other thoughts about the experience of doing this thing? Cool. Well, Brendan Koo, the junior Irish did something similar. Brendan Koo had almost 20 people fill out the thing that they were doing. And he went around and personally made all these people do it. He brought back like this stack. So awesome. I was so proud of him. But he said too, even you know, if he was maybe not as forceful of an awesome personality as he is, no one would have done it, right? So there's a way in which people are uncomfortable, I think, talking about worldview faith issues at all. And I think that automatically tells us something, that if someone knows that you're a Christian, they're automatically in certain ways suspicious of you, right? That they're like, what is the survey thing really about? I think that tells us something about the way people think of Christians. Awesome, so let's get into these results. They're super interesting, and in the Google Forms spreadsheet thing, man, that is like the worst way to display short answer results, right, in the forum questions. So I tried to take a cross-section of the different and more interesting ones, but if you're curious in the overall responses, I'd be happy to let you read them since they're anonymous. That's great. So I've given you the highlights. Let's go through them. What do we got here? Awesome. So where there was, I tried to give, a lot of times there were answers that were the same or similar, and so I tried to give each one that was different, right? So one possible answer, what are Christians like, right? A lot of people put, well, they're good in this way, and I like these. Give to charity, are great speakers. Not totally sure, but I like to give time. For the most part, have good intentions for humankind. And then the bad, they're raised in blind belief. They are judgmental. They're closed to other cultures, lifestyles, beliefs, or sexuality. And when they don't agree with you or your choices, they're blatantly rude and judgmental. Okay? Did pull any punches there? Great. One thing that I think I meant to say earlier that we need to agree upon before we read through these is to be super open to this, right? We could be defensive or say, oh, this person is mean or they're a jerk, but they actually did us a huge favor and we're really stepping out and taking a risk by filling this out. So we need to respond in gratitude with that, and anyone that we find offensive or any other thing, untrue, anything like that, we need to suspend that and find the best in all the answers. So let's agree to that. Okay. Awesome. So some Christians are like this. What else we got here? Other people said this. They're good, sense of purpose, desire to help others out, thoughtfulness about self and others, desire to be better humans, willingness to talk through faults and shortcomings. Yes. Bad. Arrogance. Great. About having the right way. Desire to control, disrespect of others' beliefs and lifestyles. Too concerned with afterlife, and not enough with this life. That being said, the spectrum of what Christians are is very wide and diverse. Good. Good answer. Awesome. What else we got? Okay. Answer 3. They are kept generally accountable to live a moral life and be nice to others. Good. Okay. This is, what do you think of Christians?
Is this the bath friend?
What?
Is this the bath friend?
The what?
I have a feeling this is the bath.
The bath?
Bath friend. Mark's bath friend.
Oh. Bath, yes. I don't know. I have no idea who any of these people are. It's anonymous. So, that's what makes it interesting. Alright, you believe in so many things that have no factual basis or logical reason to believe. Everything you believe comes from either a feeling. A feeling. If you understand principles in neuroscience, you understand that feelings, intuition, instincts come from physical, biological mechanisms in your brain, not magic or miracle. That they are affected by environment, diet, past experience, existing belief patterns, and genetics. Or 2, from the Bible. You would claim that the Bible is a direct word of God written by men. Well, you're in the same case as Muslims with the Quran, Mormons with the Mormon Bible, and most other religions. All other religions believe just as devoutly and fervently in the holiness of their scriptures. Does it seem like your God would choose one group of people to be born into a culture believing this religion and allow the rest of the world to be born into cultures who wholeheartedly believe in a different God, and then give them the same chance one lifetime to be convinced that everything they believe is wrong, and if they do not convert, they're going to hell? How loving could your God really be doing that? I used to believe in your God, and I believed he was too loving to let this happen, and that's what helped me start looking at what we believe from an outside, unbiased perspective. Awesome. Great short answer question. This person... Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Awesome. So that's what they think about Christians. Yeah, good. Later we'll talk about exactly what this means to us. Let's first wade through the results and then talk about what we learned from it. Question 2, what are your views? I'm a skeptic and I was raised to be an atheist by my family. Okay, interesting. 2, my morality comes from the principles of humanism. Humanist beliefs stress the potential of value and goodness of human beings, emphasize common human needs, and seek rational, humane ways of solving problems affecting people and the environment. Like Confucianism, I believe that human beings are teachable and improvable through learning and study, and through actively trying to be a humane, altruistic person. Awesome. Good answer. Next, on the views. These were interesting. They were pretty similar. Lots of people put this. My views are, don't be rude, be nice, treat people how you want to be treated. Or I go with the basics, don't treat others in ways I wouldn't wish to be treated. Good. So some form of the golden rule. I thought that was interesting. Awesome. What do you think about the Bible? What do people get out of the Bible? That was the exact wording of the question. What do you think people get out of the Bible when they read it? Some people get guidance, while others, usually the ones that we see on the news making themselves look like fools, get a book to hide behind with their insecurities. Good answer. Interesting answer. 2, some get good things and some get bad things. I wish they all just knew the actual history of the text. Awesome.
We should look into that.
Yeah. Okay, what do you think about Jesus? Wonderful teacher, great points. Way blown out of proportion by people who didn't even live in the same millennium. I don't think Jesus even existed. I think the contradictory legends that make up the New Testament came about being based on stories told again and again about various Jewish mystics, real and imagined, which gradually merged into one mythical being, Jesus. In the earliest versions of the text, Jesus is not God. Material implying or outright saying he was God came later. Interesting. What else we got? Things in common, good. Right. Golden rule. One person put, yes, we have the golden rule in common and also take care of the poor and outcast. Other people said, it depends on which Christian I am talking to. I believe a person is good based on the content of their character and actions, and many Christians believe the only way to be good is to accept Jesus Christ as both God and the Son of God. And that behavior doesn't matter at all. I don't make sweeping generalizations about Christians because they're all different. Okay, good. Okay, questions for us. I was really excited about this, and I was kind of fascinated by the results, but not in the way I expected. Is it right not to accept homosexuality? Awesome, expected that one. Number 2, none, but no offense, I probably know a lot more than you. Atheists usually do know way more about religious dogma and history than practitioners.
I bet.
Awesome. Awesome. This person could be in this room right now, you don't know, so be cool. Be cool. Awesome. Number 3, does it not feel weird in a world of science to believe in an unseen deity? The logic just isn't there for me. Is it a feeling or is it a true belief? Really deep question. That's good. That's good. Awesome. Okay, what did we learn? What did you observe? What did you think? Ready, go. Lucky.
None of this surprises me, and the atheists have the same criticism of Christianity that I do.
Yeah, good. That's right. Me too.
They think they're so original.
That's right. Atheists think they're so original. That's hilarious. Awesome. Great. What else did we learn? That's good. Yeah, Julia.
I feel like people would have a lot less questions if we actually had honest, open discussions about Christianity and religion in general, and there would be a lot less confusion and conflicting thoughts about groups of people.
Yes, interesting. Kind of the practical side of what Lucas is saying. It would be interesting to talk to this guy and say, me too, right? I have these same questions.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. What? You're not blind? Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Totally. Totally. That seems like it would be powerful and redemptive. All right. Libby, then Mark, then Shay.
Julia kind of like sort of said what I was going to say, but just like to all of the questions that people would have, I probably wouldn't even have an answer. So like, I think in most of the responses, it seemed like they were talking to a Christian who like knows what they're all about and like, you know, is all high and mighty and stuff. And like, if they had a question, you just like know the answer to it. But in discussions like this, or not like this, because I never have like no weird anonymous online discussion, but
Yes.
but I usually don't have answers.
That's right. Sometimes we feel like, well, there are some answers no one can have, but then maybe there's some answers I should probably have and I don't. Yeah. Okay. Mark.
Seems like one of the most general criticisms was closed-mindedness, both in the sense of not accepting other beliefs or cultures or behaviors, and also a common thread by people that you don't really know the history of your religion or what it's all about with texts or neuroscience.
That's right. That's right. Really good summary of all the criticisms. You're closed-minded and you don't know enough.
Also, there seem to be some things that you could just sort of disagree with and say, you know, if we had a reasonable discussion, you could see my way on this. There are others, like history of the text, where it's a legitimately thorny issue.
Right. It is legitimately thorny. That's good. Yeah. Shay.
So, I feel like they have a point with some of it. Like, a lot of Christians don't have people here per se.
You're not talking about me.
No.
Okay.
But there are people that are kind of like the stereotypical Christian where they don't believe in homosexuality and it's something that can be changed. And it's that bugs me about Christians that think like that. But they also have kind of the same things that I had before I came to church. So,
Yeah. Good. Awesome. Lucas, then Hillary.
Just on Mark's point about talking about the historical accuracy of the text, I thought it was hilarious that they were a millennium off in estimating where text came from, that religious scholars actually agree on that coming from the first second millennium.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's right. All right, Hill.
We were a little vague by saying Christian, because like people have different ideas of what Christians are. Like the Mormons consider themselves Christian.
Right.
We consider ourselves Christians, but the Mormons might not consider us true Christians, right? Because our beliefs are so different from theirs. Christians are really broad.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess I felt like in the methodology of this study, it would be interesting to put out a vague term and see what people did with it. And maybe there are strengths and weaknesses to that. But a lot of people said, well, this is kind of a vague term, so maybe you mean this, but maybe you mean this.
Yeah, and
So-
a lot of people don't consider Mormons Christians too. But the Mormons consider themselves Christians.
yes, but
Yeah.
it's the people that you're asking, that's the thing, it's their interpretation.
So we were kind of putting the ball in their court. What's your definition? What do you think it is? And that's sort of what we wanted to know, right? So it was interesting that they teased out all these distinctions. Well, they said, well, there's some Christians that are like this, and I kind of like them, but there's some Christians who are like this, and I don't like them at all. So interesting. Interesting. Does somebody else have their hand up? No. Awesome. Okay. Other things that we observed from this. Yeah, Kathy.
I just think it's always interesting to hear people criticize Christians for being intolerant. And basically, they're intolerant of intolerance, basically. You know?
Yeah.
But because not all, you know, they did mention like not all Christians are the same, but everybody has beliefs, and whether they are somehow weighted in science or they are weighted in religion or you know, moral beliefs or ethics or whatever. And it's just interesting to see how people go at each other over the differences in their beliefs. And so really tolerance goes both ways.
Yeah.
And so if you're asking people to be tolerant, you know, of what you believe, then you kind of have to meet them halfway.
Totally.
And I just think it's really interesting. I've read a couple of books written by atheists about, you know, all the problems with Christianity and that kind of thing. And a lot of it is really well founded, but you know, it's not necessarily what everybody believes. And it's interesting that atheists seem to believe nothing. They want to say they believe nothing, but then they're trying to convince you to believe the way they believe.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's the same complaint they have about Christians.
Totally. And, you know, just like they have to forgive and accept that there are different kinds of Christians, we have to accept, well, there are different kinds of people who identify in every worldview. But you can sort of observe how, you know, if Christians are arrogant and closed-minded, it's maybe not just because they're Christian, it's because they're human, right? That there are humans of different worldviews who have the same problem, which maybe we can see a little bit of here. Some of those answers come across a little bit, or explicitly, I probably know more than you, right? Which maybe he does, I don't know, or she. Yeah, Mark.
Yeah.
Ben.
Okay.
Ben.
Again, sort of springboarding on Kathy is they kept saying, you know, how like, oh yeah, not all Christians are the same. We are all a bunch of blatant, judgmental, deluded fools, kind of thing. That was kind of the general impression I got from this. And you know, again, it kind of negates their own, you know, sort of statement of tolerance almost to make these blanket statements.
Yeah. There were some blanket statements in it, but there were also some,
Yeah, there
let
definitely
me say
were
good
some-
things.
Yeah, there were some good things. But.
And there was one in there where they're saying, I try not to make sweeping statements, but here's a few sweeping statements.
Yeah.
Right? So, which we invited sweeping statements, so maybe it's our own fault, and that's fine. Yeah. At least they were honest, yeah. Mark, then Grace.
Okay, well, something I've noticed about our reaction to this is a lot of us, and myself included, sort of default to thinking why they're wrong, or why, you know, if we got to talk with them, then they would, you know, be all cool with it. So in other points that, the other thing which I think has some definite legitimacy is bad apples. You know, there are some Christians who hate gays and will do all these things. That's what they're going off, but if they met us, who are real Christians, they would like it. And aside from, you know, sort of laying it on other people, like, the religion is not meant to be acceptable to other people. And if we're thinking, well, if they met us, they would find everything about Christianity really cool, that might in itself represent us trying too hard to make other people like us.
Interesting. Good thoughts. Interesting. Yeah. Grace, did you have something?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that it was interesting to see, and some of this has already been said, they outline the difference between like feeling and thinking, and how, you know, if you feel God and have a super emotional experience, then you're basically unintelligent. You don't know enough.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what Mark's saying. But if you have this, you know, thinking knowledge about God, then at the same time you don't know enough. And so my question is for people, like, what is enough? You know, like,
Yeah.
what is enough for them to know God?
Yeah, good question. And I like, there's one question that's kind of getting there, is like, they're kind of honestly seeking after they said, I've never understood how in the age of science you can believe in a deity. What is it? Is it a belief, or is it a feeling? What is it that you're resting your hat on at the end of the day? That's one of the questions they asked us. So, yeah, good. Chad.
So I just kind of noticed these are kind of the common objections and a lot of the big questions I had when I was agnostic. You know, these are basically like slogans and common objections, and when I was agnostic, I had all the same kind of thoughts and feelings until I finally started looking into it with an open mind and really doing the hard work and the research for a couple of years to find the answers to these questions without just going to like a Yahoo chat room or something like that. Yeah? That's not the best place to do that.
Yeah, Yahoo Answers, not there. Yeah, good. Yeah, I think, you know, one direction that this could go for us is that if we want to really talk about what are the answers to these questions, there are really good answers to most of these questions. There's always a point when you're human that you have to say, I don't know the answer to that. But there's actually tons of great Christian scholarship leading pretty close up to the edge of that. And that's sort of what Chad is talking about. There's really good reasons for faith, and maybe we'll talk about a few of those here in a second. Yeah. Kathy.
Yeah, just because, you know, number 3 is kind of a real traditional kind of response to Christianity.
Yeah.
People who don't believe, and it's just curious to me how in the world of science there couldn't be a God.
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
agreed.
science really explains the world, God, I don't think, and logic, you know, needing logic to explain belief, I don't really understand that either. So,
Yeah, and
because
it's-
because it's not necessarily logical,
Yeah.
but it doesn't mean that we can't believe.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting, like in the history of the faith versus science debate, that Christians threw the first punch.